Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Walking Dead episode 5 video. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Here we go. Jesus is back. I'm so happy. He's one of my favorite characters on The Walking Dead just because of the way he's able to lighten the tone but still be a badass. Like, he has mad skills, but things have been so dire for the last couple of episodes that you just need somebody to lighten the tension. So Jesus monster truck rallies to the rescue. So let's do top 10 WTF and comic book Easter eggs. There are a couple really big comic book arcs that they're setting up, so I'll just try to deal with the stuff that they did in this episode, and if they do end up doing stuff from later in the comics, we can talk about it in the episodes where it happens. But number 10, Maggie's still alive as expected. This is a comic book thing, like she had some trauma with her baby in the comics, but as she's fine in this episode, same thing happens in the comics. The doctor's like, maybe you had some trauma, like he has no idea what happened with Glenn and Abraham. But then number 9, Sasha buried them out back, and she takes Glenn's watch, which is actually Herschel's, lays it down, but everybody's favorite douchebag walks in, Gregory, and if you forgot about him from season 6, he's basically like the feckless leader of Hilltop, complete pushover, but as he says during the episode, oh, I got him right where I want him, I'm totally dealing with the situation. But really, they're just trying to set up somebody else taking over, so they really wanted you to hate him in this episode. So things are all proceeding according to comic book plan. He's mostly just worried about what the Saviors are going to do when they find out that they helped them. But number 8, the Saviors roll out a big show, monster truck rally time. It was so hilarious when, number 7, at the end of the episode, Maggie explained where she learned that trick. Oh, there was this guy in high school, and I laughed so hard when Enid asked her if it was the guy that she ran over. Like, oh, you ran over the guy with your car? No, I ran over his Camaro. But don't you just love Maggie that much more, knowing that she did that when she was in high school? Like, that's how badass she was then. Number 7, I think what they're implying is that Maggie will eventually take leadership of Hilltop. But like when Jesus was talking to them at the end of the episode and said that he had somebody else in mind, like, when he first came in, Gregory was in charge and he couldn't imagine anyone else taking the job. So I think what he was implying is that he's eventually going to ask Maggie to step up just because she seems like such a strong person. When Deanna was still alive, they actually foreshadowed a little bit of this. Like, she asked Maggie to work with her, kind of learn how to administrate the group. So Maggie's been learning to be a leader for a while now. So the arc she's on is a little bit clear. Like, she's this strong single mom who is now going to be this very strong leader eventually. But number 6, Gregory is going to be like the puppet leader for the time being. He's in charge effectively, but he's not in charge. That was what Jesus' whole speech was about. He was standing up to him. Look, this is the way it's going to be. They're staying, that's it. But number 5, back to the safe zone. So actually I felt like the Carl storyline was a little crazier just because of what it was implying. But number 5, Rick and Michonne side trip. Michonne seems like she might run into the Kingdom. Rick, they tease, might run into another group from the comics, but it's not the Whisperers. There's a lot of talk about the Whisperers this past week, but they weren't saying they were coming on this season. They just said they would be coming on sooner rather than later. I think the big thing though, even though we're gonna see all these different groups, is that the survivors themselves will remain split up. Like, even though they might see Carol there, that doesn't mean that Carol will come back with them. And it seems like Maggie and Sasha are staying put at Hilltop for now too. So the group is more fractured than ever. But before I get to the Carl stuff, I'll say, number 4 is Simon and his performance with Gregory. He's the new Negan. You might hear people call him Trevor, just make that joke, because he's the same actor in real life that does the character Trevor in Grand Theft Auto. So even though his name is Simon on The Walking Dead, like when you hear people referring to him as Trevor, that's what they're talking about. But he just had that crazy performance being the new Negan of Hilltop. Oh, those last people you dealt with, they were taking it kind of soft on you. So he's kind of trying to do his best Negan impersonation. He's doing a pretty good job of it too. But the problem is that even though Negan is every bit this asshole, he is way more terrifying and he has some of the muscle and the weaponry to back it up. Like, Negan could actually throw down if he needed to, but I would be willing to bet that Sasha could take Simon if she really wanted to, but she would have a much harder time if she were to try to take Negan on directly. which doesn't give you a lot of hope for Carl's mission. So number 3, Carl goes after Enid on a Sunday drive. I just, felt like going for a drive. You could make the joke that he's a terrible driver because he has no depth perception, but he probably would have done that anyway. But it's still pretty funny, just super casual, just ramming the car around, just destroying everything. But if you forgot about the big reference they dropped to the previous season, so when he locked her in the armory and she was like, I didn't need to see it, that was when they went to take Maggie to Hilltop, and she was talking about having to watch Glenn and Abraham die. So she tells Carl, I'm sorry you had to see it. So it's not all a huge bummer because they find that pair of skates and have like a really brief moment of just being kids before Carl opens up and explains, I'm gonna kill Negan. Number 2, Carl plotline from the comics, he plans to kill Negan. In fact, these mattresses that he's hiding under are the mattresses that the Saviors burned in that previous episode. That was what Michonne was so pissed about, crying at the end of the episode, that burning pile of mattresses that the Saviors had taken. So slight change from the comics, but that's what you're looking at right here. So we can follow that along with the episodes. I'll talk about the comic book stuff as we see it, but he says the exact same thing. He undertakes the exact same type of mission in the comics. But the difference is the comic book Carl is way smaller, so it's even more of a WTF. And speaking of which, number 1, just that final end tag where Jesus is jumping on the back of the truck and sees Carl and just casually gives him a what's up, like it's no big deal, that they're on the back of a truck headed to hell. So let me know what was your favorite moment from the episode. There were a lot of nice tags, like Herschel's watch. Like that's a nice object that's kind of followed the characters around. Like Herschel gave it to Glenn, now Maggie gave it to Enid. There was this whole theme about letting go, burning the bodies versus burying them, remembering things. Maggie comes to the conclusion, like the right conclusion, I think, that she's able to let this stuff go and move forward because we have each other. Carl is the other side of that. He cannot let this go. That is why he's on this crackpot mission to go kill Negan. But at least you have Jesus there. I think they did that in the episode just so you wouldn't feel so bad for him. Like if he had gone by himself, there's absolutely no way this would have gone well. But with Jesus there, he might be able to help Carl out a little bit. So I think they wanted you to be a little bit more hopeful, especially, as you hear Sasha sharpening her knife, smoking Abraham's cigar there. Like that was just another great way to let you know that the survivors, people like Sasha, are just going to be sitting around letting the Saviors come take half of their stuff every single week. So the Hilltop stuff, the Carl stuff, right out of the comics. Can't wait to see where they go with it. If there's any other Easter eggs you guys spotted that I didn't mention, just let me know in the comments below. I really feel like Maggie is going to benefit from this season of Walking Dead the most. She's going to get one of the best character arcs, as well as Carl, at least in comparison to his arcs in previous seasons. He's always been something of a supporting character, but now I think they're really trying to do something interesting, and thanks to the comics, that's actually pretty easy to do. But I did just hear a really crazy Chandler Riggs rumor, so if you guys want, I'll do a video about that later this week, but it's just a rumor right now. But what's going to happen next is I'll be doing new Westworld and a new Walking Dead trailer, so be sure to subscribe to get that stuff. And there is a new Walking Dead giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video, so those other videos will start posting early tomorrow. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to learn about Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones being in the new Star Wars Han Solo movie, and you can click here for my Westworld video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.